Hello, Teddy superfans, and welcome to Hugglets. I hope you're having a wonderful show, learning a lot, and of course, exploring the sales room. Perhaps you'll bring home a new treasure, at least online, for your collection. I am delighted to be with you today. My name is Rebecca Kaufman, and I am coming to you from Cambridge, Massachusetts, in the United States. That is the other Cambridge across the pond. And greetings. Today, we're going to talk about one of Steiff's most legacy bears, mid-century bears, called Zotty. And I guess you probably have figured that out already, given the name of this program, as well as our special guest who's sitting here on my lap and more. Anyway, let's get started. So here we go. The name of our program is Shaggy, Smiling, and Sensational, Steiff's mid-century Zotty bears. So this is what we're going to talk about in our program today. We're going to talk about Zotty's history and background. Then we're going to do a deep dive into standard line Zotty bears. Then we're going to talk about Zotty bear novelties and variants. And finally, we're going to share some Zotty bear catalog pages and covers. So, history and background. This is really important in understanding the role Zotty played in the Steiff Company and helping to relaunch the Steiff Company after World War II. So here we have an absolutely adorable little baby Zotty, and I think the little ones are especially adorable. He has such an adorable little baby face and personality and presentation. But Zotty, his name, is from the German word Zottel, which means shaggy. And I apologize for my German accent or lack of German accent, so no giggling when I speak sort of German to you. So Zotty was designed to give Steiff a fresh beginning after the factory reopened for toy making business right at the conclusion of World War II. Because Zotty was so popular, a lot of companies created copycat Zotty bears as a result of his success, and it's not uncommon to see these on the market today. A little bit more about his history and background. So Zotty's legacy and perhaps namesake goes back over a century. In 1914, Steiff debuted their Zotto bear, or Shaggy bear, and he was in the line through 1927, and like Zotty, was known for his shaggy coat, sweet face, and soft texture. And it's very interesting to note the history of Zotty in terms of his designing origins. So like father, like son. So Zotty was created by a very well-known Steiff designer named Mr. Zeller around 1949 or 1950. And most interestingly, his son, Roland Zeller, also worked for Steiff and designed over 2,000 items over the course of his career there. Now let's take a look at standard line Zotty bears. And this is what we mean by that, just these beautiful, fuzzy, loving, endearing bears. And when I get questions from readers or others who write me emails, I would say maybe 10 or 20% of all the questions I received are about a Zotty bear or a Zotty bear wannabe. So what are Zotty's features? Well, you can see him here on the left. He was produced in 9 sizes, ranging from 17 to 100 centimeters, up from 1951 through 1978, which is a really long time for any one product to be in the product line. He's made from long, shaggy caramel tip mohair with a distinctive orange bib, and you see that right on his front. He has a shorter mohair muzzle, fully jointed with felt paw pads. He has glass or plastic pupil eyes, depending on the era in which he was produced, and some are backed in felt. He has an open felt line mouth, an embroidered nose, and toddler-like proportions. And what's so interesting is that it is very common to see in Zotty's mouth a little stain of something, because kids thought his mouth was open and they tried to feed him. So it is not unusual to find a little food stain in Zotty's mouth, or at least that's been my experience. This is a fabulous Zotty, and this is Zotty's in my collection. And actually, he is our co-host today. This is a larger than life Zotty from 1967. This is a studio Zotty. And perhaps my most favorite Steiff catalog picture of all, here we have the Zotty studio bears. The one that I have in my collection is the 80 centimeter or 35-inch version, but he came even bigger. I don't know if I could handle him. He's 100 centimeters and 40 inches. These guys are enjoying Oktoberfest a little bit too much. So I brought this little guy here because he fits nicely on the camera, unlike the big guy who needs his own camera. A beautiful little Zotty. Let's just basically go over his features. He's got the lovely caramel silver-tipped mohair. His orange bib right here, lovely. Open mouth. He doesn't have any food. He must be hungry. Button ear, tag, belt, and a lovely ribbon. Who wouldn't want 100 of these for their collection? Beautiful, just beautiful. This is your Zotty, standard line. Now let's talk about Zotty Bear novelties and variants. And in this case, variants are a good thing, not a bad thing, like you hear in the news these days, unfortunately. Perhaps the most famous Zotty that's not a regular Zotty is the white Zotty Bears. And these were only made for a handful of years from 1960 through 1961 in 28 and 35 centimeters. And these guys are just beautiful and very rare, probably because they were in the line for so little time. I do not know why they were not produced in a more prolific way, but perhaps it had to do with sales of them or perhaps availability of materials or the costs. I just don't know. But as you can see, they're just beautiful and share that delightful smile. Here is White Zotty in 1960 on his debut, and here you can see him on the top. They call him the Cuddly Bear, mohair white and jointed, and you can see that white body and lovely orange chest. I love this postcard. This was not produced by Steiff, but obviously features Steiff's delightful Zotties. This is I believe, a birthday postcard, and everybody looks so happy getting flowers. Just thought that was a lovely use of Zotty in ephemera and collateral. Other Zotty novelties that were produced over the years, and these, by novelties, I mean they basically used the Zotty concept, a look and feel, and produced other items that piggybacked on Zotty's popularity in new and exciting and interesting products. So here you have Floppy Zotty, who's sleeping, and this was designed for children to basically sleep with and cuddle as a nighttime toy. Zuby is a wonderful novelty, and I'll show him to you in real life with his wonderful Zoo Bear features and felt claws and such. Zipper Zotty is another wonderful product. He is not stuffed, and his tushy has a zipper on it, which he can be used as a puppet or a pajama bag. He's made out of mohair. Here are some other Zotty novelties. This Minky Zotty from 1969, I believe, was designed to be produced as sort of an upscale Zotty. His fabric is simply lovely and is minky like you'd find on a fine mink coat or something like that. Zolak is this Zotty that's produced as a lulak animal, or these long, thin, silly limbs and a happy smiling face, delightful and very popular with collectors. And Lully, I believe, was produced as sort of the baby bear version of Zotty. And here's a little mystery for you. This black Minky Zotty, which was not produced in the standard line, sold at auction for about $12,000 in 2017. Was not ever appeared anywhere else. Clearly somebody was very intrigued by the Zotty pattern and the color. I've even seen a black mohair Zotty, only in pictures though, and only know of one of those. But his origins and actual living place is a mystery even to me. And here is one of my favorite Zotty novelties in my collection. This is a deluxe pajama bag from the 1960s. And this guy has a wonderful face and expression, and his body is hollow and lined in a silk pouch with a zipper on his belly. And we'll take a closer look at him as well. These are called Racker Zotties, and you can see here on the lower left. And these items were designed in the 1960s, and these were designed for children to put on the floor and lean against when watching TV. And that's pretty interesting because in the 1960s, late 1950s, early 1960s, TV was a really big deal. That's what families did for entertainment, and kids loved to watch TV. And these were actually designed for you to lean against and watch TV or do other family activities together. And this Dralon and Velcro Zotty, which you see in the upper left, I also have an example in my collection, and this is from the 1970s. He is similar to the zipper Zotty and the pajama bag Zotty, yet he has Velcro on his tushy and also can be used as a pajama bag or as a puppet, but he's a little bit smaller scaled than the other items that were designed as pajama bags. Now let's take a look at some of these items in person. Okay. These guys look familiar. These are the white Zotties. Here's the small one and the big one. And you can see those lovely faces. Aren't they beautiful? I'll pull them closer and far away so you can see their detailing. Let me go over the detailing on the small one with you. So this little guy is adorable, and he is wearing a little scarf that is not original to him, but was um, I got it at the Steiff factory a few years ago at Steiff Summer. They were making little scarves and you could embroider whatever you wanted on them. And this says Teddy hugs to you, which I thought was perfect. Here you see the little white guy, and he is wearing, don't tell a soul, a little suit from Teddy Herman, which fits him perfectly. So it's okay to mix and match this beautiful, lovely little guy. And here's the bigger version. And you can see his peach chest and happy smile. And he also has a clean mouth, so maybe he's hungry too. But lovely white Zotty. Next, I want to share with you my Zuby, and this is the Zoo Bear. Now, he is, because he's a Zoo Bear, I put a clown hat on it, but that obviously is not original to him. So I'll take it off so you can see his beautiful face, lovely smile. He is jointed in his arms, not his legs. He's got sort of funky fake leather paws and his wonderful felt claws here. But he has obviously the Zotty face. Adorable. And that is your Zuby novelty. I also have the supermodel Zolak. Now my Zolak is wearing a dress because she's long and lean and beautiful and models it well. But here you can see how long and lean she actually is. And my wonderful face and her limbs, she's fully jointed. I'll give you a peek. She really is a supermodel with those long legs. And that is the Zolak. This is the Dralon version of the Zotty sort of pajama bag or puppet. And you can see he has Velcro on his tushy. And you could use him as a pajama bag, like teeny tiny pajamas, or perhaps a negligee would fit in. And he's a puppet or a pajama bag. Adorable. And here is one of the prizes in my collection is this lovely pajama bag. And I opened up his zipper so you can see it's hollow and lined in beautiful satin. And here's lovely face. He doesn't have an orange patch here, and I'm suspecting that's for production reasons, but here he is. You can see he's also wearing little moccasins because I like to dress my bears. I'm a hybrid doll bear person, but there you go. And that's the Zotty super pajama bag, super big. This you could fit in like men's big pajamas or men's big pajamas and a negligee. Okay. Finally, I want to share with you some Zotty Bear catalog pages and covers. And I think this is really interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, Zotty was in the line for a really long time. So the way he was pictured and portrayed over time changed. And that helps you sort of figure out the aesthetic and the design history of the company as well. And it's also very interesting to know where he was pictured and when and why, because he was just so popular for so long. So here is a page from 1951, and here you can see the Zotty on the bottom, and this was his debut. And it's interesting to note that upon his debut, at least according to the catalog that I have, there was a cocky Cocker Spaniel on the cover and not the Zotty. So I'm not sure that the company even realized how wonderful and how beloved this bear would become over time. But here you can see in sort of a black and white version of what this Zotty looked like in 1951. In 1953, Zotty made the F.A.O. Schwarz catalog page, and here you can see him in the lower left, world famous Steiff animals. Here's a fun catalog page from 1954, and I love everything on it, and I'm sure everyone watching this program does as well. Here you can see Zotty in the middle and all the wonderful sizes. He's sort of lining up and very playful. On the top, you can see the Jackie bears and the Nimrod bears, which were produced in the early 1950s as anniversary bears. And of course, Teddy babies on the bottom, all playful and happy, and they're brown and sort of blondish color. Simply adorable. Here from 1961, Zotty is still stealing the show. This is, over a decade past his introduction. Here he is in the middle, all these wonderful sizes. And on the bottom, more, I would say, designs that were based on Zotty's success. Here you can see the Orsi, sitting Orsi, and of course the Lully, which we talked about a little bit in the novelties part of this talk. In 1972 onward, still more wonderful Zotties. Here you can see these beautiful big guys on the bottom, and then the minky Zotties in the brown and sort of the mink color, and little Lolly. It's interesting how the colors and the settings and the way the pictures look change over time. This really definitely has a 1970s vibe to it. In 1961, and this was, again, 10 years post his introduction, Zotty is still making the cover of the catalog. And that's really fascinating because for the most part, things that are on the cover are new introductions, as well as things that, what the company wants you to have the impression about the company. So clearly this bear was truly a goodwill ambassador as well as a bestseller to appear on the cover 10 years past his debut. And here in 1971, continued. He's still on the cover. He's playing with a wonderful, or he's sitting on a ball, perhaps it is the mosaic ball the company's famous for. But this cover from 1971 certainly has the vibe of the 1970s with the Dralon animals and such. But again, Zotty is front and center, or at least left and center, and an important presentation, an important product and priority of the company in the 1970s. Well, that's what I have for you. I want to thank you so much for your time and attention. Here we are dancing with Zotty on roller skates. That's how I feel when I talk about Zotty and talk with you about how important he is and what a wonderful item he is in the Steiff line. Every collector who collects teddy bears should have at least one Zotty in their collection. So thank you so much again for your time. Please stay in touch. I'm happy to answer any questions about Zotty or other button-ear treasures if I possibly can. And here is my contact information. So there's no better way to say this than Teddy hugs to you, and I hope to see you soon. Enjoy Hugglets. Bye for now.